Hey friends, I'm Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. I thought that was the end of the song, but I'm just too tired to remember things. I'm back from Rotor Riot Rampage. To everyone that had kind words to say, that showed up, that hung out, that came and saw Micro Mayhem, or just, went, to be honest. Thanks for coming. It was super fun, very cool of everyone. Everybody was super cool about everybody's just super cool in this community, man. We're a lucky group of people. I'm just broken. I'm so tired, man. I got home, I tried to leave last night. A hare, really. A bunny rabbit ran out in front of my car and smashed my bumper all up, and then an armadillo tried to do the same thing. And then I said, you know what? I'm not going to wait for a third thing that's even bigger and angrier and heavier and more destructive on the front of my car. So I actually turned around. Kevin Sumner had an extra bed, so I crashed there. And then, came home today. I got back here at about 6 o'clock, I think I got here. And I took like a 2-hour nap, and here I am. That flight footage was from the Nook is the name. It's a new flight line, and it's one of my favorites. We've flown there before. That is like right outside of where that's right in between where Micro Mayhem used to be and where it was this year. Micro Mayhem this year was unbelievable. I have so much flight footage from Micro Mayhem, and some stories to tell. So that's what we're going to be doing tonight. Tonight is going to be a recap of Rotor Riot Rampage 2023. And all kinds of stuff happened. I met all kinds of awesome people. Got to see some really cool products. The Florida boys are making a magazine, which is amazing. and they've done an incredible job on it. They were cool enough to let me have this one. Yeah, man, so many cool people in FPV doing so many cool things, and it's just like there's just such a wide range of shenanigans. It's really, really cool, man. It's really, really, really cool. Got to hang out with Medlin and fly their head tracker setup, and he was so impressed by me flying it that he actually gave me one of the little TinyWhoop setups. So I'm going to be able to build a little head tracking TinyWhoop over the next couple weeks here, which will be pretty cool. Yeah, he said he was so I started flying it, and he was getting like really, really, really excited. And then afterwards he's like, dude, I've never seen somebody take to it like so quickly. Like, you were just completely natural with it. Everybody else like is just like holding on for dear life, and like, I don't know, I was able to just kind of fly around and like dive down through gaps while I was looking down, and like, it's super interesting, man. So for those of you that don't know, the Medlin setup is a little gimbal, is a little servo on your FPV camera, and then there's head tracking on the goggles. So when you look up with the goggles, it looks up. When you look down, it looks down. And it was yeah, I don't know, for whatever reason I was able to just like in my brain connect the pitch stick with my neck essentially. So like it's really cool. Basically, like, if you want to go forward, you look up, because that gives the quad more up tilt, and you know, when you have up tilt, you tend to fly forward. And then when you want to stop and go backwards, you look down. And for whatever reason, like my brain and the head tracking and my fingers were kind of connected, so it was just really natural for me to look down and pitch down, to pull it back like this and then fly backwards. I did have to like remind myself to look up to fly forward, but stopping and flying backwards was like really natural for me. It was super weird. But man, really, really cool setup. Like, it's just such a trip seeing the ducts move around in the FPV view. And yeah, I'm so impressed by the Medlin setup. And he's just such a cool dude. So we had a blast talking and hanging. So yeah, I won some stuff. We'll go through we'll take a look at the grab bag that I got for being a volunteer, and we can do like a little damage report of some of the shit that I blew up. I can play a bunch of the flight footage if you guys want. Hey, chat, you tell me what flight footage you want first. This is what you're going to type into chat. You're going to type either TinyWhoop, or you're going to type 5-inch, or you're going to type 3-inch. You guys pick what footage I put on first. I'm just going to put the footage on, and I'm going to like talk over it, and I'll give you, you know, walk you through like the whole sort of 3-day experience. So yeah, type TinyWhoop, 5-inch or 3-inch, and I'll play that footage for you. Let me get some stuff out of the way. I'm going to let that kind of pile up in chat. Frank Nicholas was first in the chat. McMucus was next. Danzilla the Terrible. Kevin Sumner, Chris Mel, Mac FPV, McConnell Studios, Ethan W, Derailed FPV, Justin Waller, Douglas Otwell, Cinnabon, CMAC, Freelojo, Kevin Sumner, Borked, CMYK FPV, Riot 9, Ethan W, Morton Upshot, Danzilla the Terrible, Hypnos, FPV is in the house, Juicy FPV, Sunset Park, Chris Mel again, Kevin Sumner, Gardo Rotor, Captain Kazi, John Louis, Sunset Park, Kyle C, Afix is here, he was there as well. Joshua Bardwell with a $20 super chat for the bunny funeral fund. Hey, also, while I was there, my Facebook account got hacked, so I don't have access to Facebook or Facebook Messenger. So if you're trying to message me on Facebook, I will not be able to get back to you for, I have no idea how long. I submitted a thing, and now I have to wait for Facebook to manually review it. Yeah, I just got an email Friday night that said, you've signed in from a weird place. Was this you? And I said, no, that's not me. And then it walked me through this, like, secure your account. Yeah, the email address on my account got changed. I assume my password got dinged, got brute forced or whatever, however the hell they do it. And then they changed my email, and like my main personal account at the moment is just gone. My CiottiFPV account is still up, but I don't have access to it. So yeah, and I don't have any access to Facebook Messenger. So if you're messaging me on there getting pissed why I'm not getting back to you, that's why. There's really nothing else I can do. I went through the secure your account process, and I just have to wait. Joshua Bardwell, thank you so much for the super generous super chat. Yeah, there's a picture on Instagram actually of the unfortunate damage from little bunny. Makes me sad, man. I'm super sad. Yeah, he was just running across, like it had rained all day Sunday. It was like foggy and misty and dark, and there's no street lights at all. And I saw him coming across the road, and I put 2 off into the dirt to try to go around, and he just kept running, and he just ran right, the same thing that deers do, you know, they run into you. If I'd been able to see into the future, I would have gone into the opposite lane, you know, I would have gone into the left lane, but it looked like, and I hoped that he would stop running, you know what I mean? Like, it looked like I could just do one of these, and yeah, I mean, like, I'm a half decent driver, and I have a, you know, I tend to look pretty far ahead and whatnot. Sometimes with hitting animals, there's just nothing you can do. Like, you know, when I see him come across your tendency is not to drive towards the damn thing. You know what I mean? Like, that's literally what I've had to do. I would have had to have seen him coming across and like gone towards his ass. And then, like, what if he stops? Then I run over him in oncoming traffic. So yeah, that sucks. But I'm hoping that that'll pop out without the paint being too bad. Yeah, we'll see. I'm really glad that I didn't hit the armadillo. That would have been way, 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 way worse. So yeah, I consider myself lucky, and I'm really glad that I didn't find out if there was, you know, things come in threes, right? God forbid if the third thing was like a deer or something really big. That could have been really nasty. So. Yeah, and it was I going back and hanging out with everybody. I had a blast. I really wanted to come home, to be honest. I really wanted to see Maggie and the kids, but yeah, I'd rather make it home alive a day later than and or with a slightly less banged up car. So yeah, thank you, Joshua. If you want to talk to me in the chat, all you got to do is type CiottiFPV. If you do that, it'll light up an orange like this, and I'll know that you're talking to me. You can also do a super chat like Joshua Bardwell did if you'd like to support the insanity that is trying to be a full-time FPV donkey. I am completely crowdfunded from you beautiful people. Yes, I get some gigs here or there, one a month, sometimes 2 a month. But yeah, the majority of the money that keeps this thing going is from you beautiful people. Patreon is the way that you can help me out the most. You can jump on there for 10 cents a day. And it is the thing that keeps this going. So if you have an extra dime a day, hook your gangly buddy up, go over to CiottiFPV.com. The second button down is Patreon, and you can join the coolest group of lunatics this side of the nut house. This is what CiottiFPV.com looks like. This is just a YouTube link with my schedule for the live streams. There it is. Patreon helps me the most. There's a whole bunch of other ways that you can help me out. If you want to buy yourself something, I've got an Etsy store and a Teespring with some really fun shit that you can support the insanity by buying for yourself. Or you can work one-on-one with me. I've been doing this for coming up on 7 years now. One of the best ways that you can like advance your knowledge and learn a lot of stuff fast is to get FaceTime one-on-one time with somebody that's been doing it forever. I have a couple like gigs on Fiverr to kind of get you thinking about what we can work together on. I have flight instruction where we can both jump in the simulator and I talk you through some stuff because I'm able to see your sticks and your screen. We can talk about tuning and get your rigs tuned up, or build planning. I think build planning is kind of the best because I've wasted probably at this point tens of thousands of dollars on electronics, frames, motors, props that are just junk. So I can help you not buy junk that will waste your time and money. Typically with build planning, you'll spend less money with me figuring out the garbage parts than you will buying the garbage parts and then wasting all your time building with the garbage parts and potentially losing an entire quad because of it. So, yeah, build with the right parts. Let my pain help you out. Don't do it. Don't go through the pain yourself is a suggestion. I've also got a whole bunch of affiliate links down here. If you're ordering something on the internet, someone's got an affiliate link to that website. See if you can hook them up, and they'll keep making the content that you can watch on YouTube, Instagram, whatever, for free. I have affiliate links to Weebleed FPV, Newbie Drone, FPV Cycle, Amazon, Get FPV, Oh My God, HD0, Flywoo, Emacs, Banggood, Camera Butter, and AliExpress. All you have to do is hit the affiliate link at any point before you check out, and that content creator gets a small percentage of your total shopping cart. What some brilliant people in chat have done is replace their bookmarks with my affiliate links, or if you don't use bookmarks, if you just do like I do and you just click into the URL bar and type AMA for Amazon, you can do that, type AMA, it'll give you your suggestion. There's off on the right side of the screen, for you guys, this is the right, there's a little X at the end of the suggestion to remove the suggestion. So you can go in and remove all of your Amazon suggestions, all of your Newbie Drone selections, all of your FPV Cycle selections. You usually only have one. And then you hit my affiliate links, and your browser's like, oh, when he wants to go to Get FPV, he wants to go to this affiliate link for Crossfire Nano. And then you don't have to even go to CiottiFPV and click the affiliate links. You just type your AMA in or GET or whatever, and it suggests my affiliate link. Bingo, bango, bongo, yo. In the chat, the folks that have tagged me so far, CMYKFPV says, how is the drive? Not bad at all. It's a 3-hour drive from here in Atlanta to Barnwell, South Carolina. Probably the shortest drive out of anybody on site there, so I can't complain at all about the drive. I'm so beat up just from like running around for 3 days straight, to be honest. Like just talking and talking and talking, you know, like I talk for 10-ish hours a week on these live streams, but other than that, like, you know, I'm not really talking. Like when I was a project manager, I'd go to work for 8 hours and I would talk for like 6 of those 8 hours, you know, for 5 days a week. Now I don't talk that much, you know what I mean? Like I talk a little bit to Maggie and the kids, but like I'm not like talking to them for hours and hours and hours a day every day. So that's why my voice is wrecked. Like I always have to, whenever I go to an event, I bring cough drops with me because I know this is going to happen. And then, yeah, just like it's just mentally, it's a lot, right? Like so whenever there's any kind of a big event, my anxiety and depression go completely bananas. And then like it's just, you know, like meeting lots and lots and lots of new people is it's a little stressful. Like it's great and I love it, don't get me wrong, but like it's stressful, you know, and like you're on all the time, and as like a technical person, it's usually, the conversation is usually not just like, hey, I love your stuff, awesome man, have a great day. It's like, hey man, can you check out this build that I've got? Like, what do you think? And it's so like each conversation like takes, you know, brain power, which is amazing. And like, I'm not complaining about that. It's just like, it's exhausting, right? So yeah, I'm just whooped right now. But I wouldn't have it any other way. Like this is, I'm so lucky to have this knowledge and to have this ability to help a whole bunch of people out like that, and have great conversations and continue to learn and bounce ideas off of each other and whatnot. So yeah, that was, these events are great. FPV events are very unique. We're a super unique group of people. So, Kevin Sumner says, Denzo the Terrible 0 for me. CiottiFPV on the other hand. Yeah, I'm beat. McConnell Studios says, good time at Rampage. Did you get CiottiFPV drunk? Nope. No, I've really just completely given up on alcohol. It just, like, yeah, it just, my stomach just can't handle it. It cannot handle any form of alcohol, so I've just completely given up on it. I'm like just hungover from just exhaustion, just like overworking my brain and body. I'm also like, I'm super lazy. I just sit around all day, every day. So like being there, like setting up and tearing down Micro Mayhem, walking around, walking from flight line to flight line, for me and how out of shape I am, that is just completely exhausting. So yeah, I'm like physically drunk. Danzilla says, everybody speak really loudly for CiottiFPV. Kyle C says, you ever figure out what BBL stands for? LOL. Yes, BBL is a group of pilots in Maryland. We figured it out during that live stream. Garter Rotor says, nice ripping. Thank you, dude. Athix says, it took 2 days for me to feel just okay. LOL. Yeah. Athix got drunk Saturday night. Oh boy. Or wait, no, was that Friday night? I think it was Friday night. Oh man, Athix got hammered. It was great. It's super cool to see so many people having such a blast, man. It's great. Mike P says, CiottiFPV, thanks for the meal ticket and finding my phone, man. Super cool meeting you, dude. You as well, Mike. Yeah, again, all you beautiful people that came out and said hi and enjoyed yourselves. Yeah, thank you. That was very cool of you. So many kind words. It's interesting, right? So like there was the original Rampage was 5 years ago, and I hadn't started live streaming yet. And like a bunch of people recognized me from the quad camp stuff, right? Way back when. Not many people, but a bunch of people did recognize me. That's when that quad camp shit was only like a year old, right? And then they didn't do Rotor Riot the following year. And then 2021, they did Rampage again. And I had just started live streaming. And like a couple more people like recognized me at that one. Last year, a lot of people recognized me. And it was like, wow, okay. This is wild. This year, I feel like everybody recognized me. Oh, it was crazy. Like everybody was saying hi. It was really, really, really cool. I'm super hard on myself just in life. Always have been. And so like I get it's a challenge for me because I get down on myself that I don't like remember everyone and know everybody's names. So that's another thing that I kind of grapple with and like just for no reason beat myself up about. But yeah, I've developed like a strategy with it. Like when I meet somebody at this point, I'm like, what's your name on YouTube? Because like that's how I know you. Because you know, like I know most of you from chat, and I know your your YouTube handle, and sometimes I know the little tiny thumbnail for you. But yeah, I definitely noticed this year that like, yeah, I don't know, it's super cool. I'm very lucky. I'm so lucky to have people that are like so cool and say nice things and introduce themselves and tell me their stories and ask me for advice and yeah, man, it's I'm a lucky boy. That's all. I'll leave it there. Brandon's Baked Bean says, check out the Ghost Stand designed gimbals. I promise you that you can integrate head tracking into that if you wanted. It's 2-axis. I've used the Namaste Mini. And then Brandon's got a link here. Let's copy the link address. And look at that. That's interesting. 2-axis gimbal. Oof. That's I'll tell you what, 1-axis is difficult enough. I don't know if I'd be able to handle 2 axes. Holy cow. It's tough, man. It is tough flying with a moving. I'm sure that you would get used to it. But it is a real thing trying to fly with a moving FPV camera. That is a skill unto itself. I already had a ton of respect for Gab for doing it with the downhill mountain biking stuff. But woo boy, I really have respect for him now. Like I said, I do think it's something that you would get used to and it would become natural. But boy, it is challenging. You know, one of the most challenging things is taking back off after you've crashed, because you've crashed and like your head is somewhere and so like if you're looking down and you take off, it's weird because you have down tilt, or if you're looking up really high and you take off, you have all this, like it's almost like you want to set it up so that when you flick over into turtle mode, or like when you arm and disarm, it zeroes out, or it like goes back to 30 degrees or something like that. He did have on a switch where it would level out. So it's again, I think you would absolutely get used to it, but yeah, fascinating thing to fly with head tracking on the FPV camera. Really, really cool. Ethan W says, I'm going to build a 5-inch quad soon. Was wondering if there are any little things that I should buy in order to make the build more clean. Oh my god. That's a big question, Ethan. There are tons of things. There are tons and tons and tons of things. When I'm building at the bench over here, like I try to show off as many of those little things as I can. You know, like one of the more recent things is this little thing of electronic goop. This is basically silly putty. You can just get silly putty and it accomplishes almost the exact same thing. And then, oh, I got you. Scroll down. All of the descriptions of all of my videos have a section at the very bottom of tools. And they're just a bunch of really, really, really handy tools to have. There's like a 5x magnification little loop in there. There's all kinds of good stuff. So yeah, do that. Scroll down into my description all the way at the bottom. There's a bunch of tools, and those are affiliate links too. So yeah, you'll be helping me out. Okay, so let's see what you guys want to watch. I'm gonna start putting some footage on because I have just tons of footage. TinyWhoop 3-inch, 6-inch, 5-inch, 3-inch, TinyWhoop, 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 TinyWhoop. 11 for TinyWhoop. I think that's gonna win. 3-inch, 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 3, 3, 3. Wow, 3. Wow, it's close, almost. So I think we'll do 3-inch footage second, and then nobody wants to watch me fly 5-inch. Mike P wants to watch me fly 5-inch, but that's it. And Apex. All right, cool. So I'm gonna put on some TinyWhoop footage for you guys, and I'm just gonna keep talking. I'm just gonna talk over it, and yeah. So, well, hold on. I'm gonna put this on. I'm gonna get caught up on chat, and then I'll dive in and just give you guys like a sort of a day by day. But let me get this going here. All right. Nope, that's not it. Nope, that's drifty stuff. Nope. Here we go. Okay. All right. So. Hold on. I'm gonna wait to get caught up on chat. I got something really special for you. Hold on. So 2 years ago, Dan Maurer flew into the Atlanta airport, and I picked him up, and we drove up to Rotor Riot Rampage together. On the way there, we spotted a massive 3 massive radio towers. And we stopped at the first one to see if it was like recoverable basically and or flyable. And it was. And so we each flew 2 or 3 5-inch batteries there, and we got one really, really, really good tandem dive there. And I'm looking for that edit right now to drop a link in the chat. Here it is. 1,100-foot tandem dive. Somebody looked I have to look the tower up for myself. Somebody looked the tower. Somebody else went and dove it this weekend, and they looked it up, and they said that it was 1,900 feet high. They put a Mavic up there and looked at the barometer data on the Mavic, and it said 1,900 feet. So I don't know the actual height of this tower, but it's over 1,000 feet. I took pictures of the yeah, I'll have the exact number soon enough. Here comes the link in chat to the 5-inch tower dive. It's me with a Session 5, and it's Dan with a Hero 8. And I chased them all the way down the damn thing, and then I had a big and then I ran it really cleanly by myself. So check that out, right? So I didn't see that tower. Maps took me a different way last year, and I didn't see that tower on the way, so I didn't dive it again. This year, Maps took me the same way. So as I was driving by the tower, and I was on the ride up, I was kind of thinking, like, what can I do differently? Like, I don't want to just send a 5-inch rig up it again. And initially I was thinking, well, I only dove it with a session last time. This time I'll dive it with a Hero 10, and the footage will be a little bit better. But then I had a better idea, which was to try to dive it with a TinyWhoop. So I took our ultimate freestyle TinyWhoop here that we've been flying and beating and slamming and developing for years and years and years and years, which is just basically a Mobula 6 ELRS switched over to BT 2.0 with the TinyWhoop.com 0702 32,000 kV motors, Gemfan biblades, and a True RC Singularity antenna. I'm gonna put the footage on because it runs for a while. So here's the whole thing. This is the whole thing. So I have just plugged the battery in. This is a fresh Weebleed FPV 300 mAh folded cell battery, less than 10 cycles on it. This is me plugging the battery in, hitting record. I figured this would be a cool little intro to it. So right now, this is the only non-elevation gaining footage runtime that there was, right? So what do we got? That was like in the air, we maybe spent like 15 seconds flying back there to the car, and now here we go. We're flying, we're covering that forward ground, starting to gain elevation and starting to use up some of the battery. Pretty windy. This is like middle of nowhere, Barnwell, California, great, South Carolina rather. So look at the tilt, look at the angle, right? So the wind was pushing me off to the left of the tower, and I'm having to put the horizon at, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 degrees there in order to stay centered on this tower. I did crank the output power all the way up on the Mobula 6 5 amp board. Which my favorite description of that setting is a YOLO setting. It says 400 milliwatts, but I don't think it actually is. It just pushes the VTX as hard as it can. And up we go, friends. We're going up at least 1,000 feet. Maybe it's 1,100 feet. Maybe it's 1,300 feet. Maybe it's 1,900 feet. Not quite sure. I'll find out for sure, though. So up we go. Look at the horizon. Look how much wind there is as I go higher and higher and higher. That, like, it's just getting worse and worse, and I'm just staying centered. There was also the clouds were not like obstructing it, but it was a little misty up there. Keep going, keep going, keep going. When the video signal gets cleaner, it's because I'm moving my head a little bit up and down like this to point the patch directly at it. Keep going, keep going, keep going. I could it's getting real bad. I was kind of counting the guy wires, and I was just waiting for the last set of guy wires. Keep going, keep going, keep going. And I'm trying to be as efficient as I can on the throttle, right? Like, if I just hammered full throttle, I would have never made it up here. It's much more efficient to be somewhere in the middle of the throttle. Keep going. Here we go. I found the top last set of guy wires. I could almost not see where I was going, and I said, you know what? Let's turn it over. Chat. Who don't cheat if I told you the story. Why did the video clear up? Who in chat can answer why the video cleared up as soon as I turned this thing down, right? Because now we got perfect signal, right? Why was it so bad when it was flying up like this, but then when I turned it down, it got so much clearer? I know the answer, but I'm interested. Think about it. Think about why that would happen. So here we go. Here's what it looks like to dive 1,000+ foot tower with a TinyWhoop. I really wanted to go up to the top of that, all the way to the top, but the video was getting so bad. Look at the wind, yo. I'm just trying to get back to line up on the tower. Look at how bad the wind is. It's just pushing me so hard. So down we go, yo. The world's smallest quad doing the world's biggest dive. And so this is me trying to get closer to the tower when you pitch forward like that, and I'm actually using throttle to pull myself in, right? So here we go. Now I'm towards the bottom. Right now, in the DV... Well, no, actually, you'll see it. You'll see it. This is DVR. Ready? So I've been pretty much zero throttle. Hold on. Let's... One more time. Let's count the amount of time that it takes to get down. Ready? So this is 230, 231, 232, 233. 233, the dive starts. All right? And so this is my clean OSD, but I do have warnings. So you're gonna get to see what I saw in the goggles, right? This is DVR from the Immersion RC Power Play. What did I say? 232. We're already 20 seconds into the dive. 256, 257, coming up on 30 seconds, and that is a 30-second dive there. So this is like a 40-second dive. Ready? So I've been pretty much zero throttle the whole way down, low battery. Oh my God, please no, land now. Just, oh, you know, I didn't even notice that. I just barely cleared that fence. Look at the barbed wire on top of the fence here. I almost didn't make it out of the one little bit of an area that's actually unrecoverable. Ready? Here it is. I'm full throttle. I'm full throttle, full throttle, full throttle, full throttle. Land now, and there's the death wobbles, and that's it. That's an entire battery. I guess I could have not flown it back to the car and then back up to me to get that little, like, you know, cool run in. But I don't know if that little run in used a significant amount of battery. Like, I don't think I would have been able to get back to myself. But yeah, man. So next time you're flying your TinyWhoop and somebody comes up to you and says, "How high did that thing go?" I'll let you know in a day or two what the actual height of this tower is, but you can say, for now, I would say 1,300 feet. 1,300 feet is the max altitude, apparently, if you want to come home alive, of a 65 millimeter, 300 milliamp, 0702 motored, bi-bladed TinyWhoop. Ain't that some shit? Who would have ever thought that a TinyWhoop could go 1,000+ feet up and dive cleanly and make it home? I'm sure you could build an ultra lightweight TinyWhoop, maybe with lower KV motors to do more. But if you want the dive to be clean and not wobbly and horrible, I think sort of and we get over 3 minutes out of these batteries normally. What was that total runtime? Total runtime was, so we took off at 10 seconds, and then it hit the ground at 3:18. Yeah, so oh yeah, there it is, 3:08. 3 minutes and 8 seconds total arm time. It's pretty wild, man. That was the entire way up. It was just like, am I ever gonna get? It was partly like, am I ever gonna get there? But it was mainly like, if low battery pops up, I'm screwed because I'm like 1,000 feet up. The nerve-wracking part was just not knowing if I could make it. You know, it's $150 TinyWhoop, so it was like, you know, I would actually really rather do this with a $150 rig than a $600 rig. But yeah, that was very cool. That was a real trip. So yeah, now I'm gonna just set the TinyWhoop footage to roll, and then we'll kind of, I'm gonna get caught up on chat first, but yeah, this is now gonna be mainly micro mayhem, us just railing, no audio of course because it's DVR, but yeah, this is gonna be like now 3 days of us just blasting and doing silly shit at micro mayhem. So all right, let me hop back into chat and we'll get caught up, and then so Garter Rotor says, what about the Vision 40? So speaking of micro mayhem, the Vision 40 is Rotor Riot's new digital, it's on Walksnail actually, 75 millimeter TinyWhoop. And I'd looked at it before, and it looked like it was so it's a Mobula 7 V4 frame walk snail. I don't actually know what AIO it is, but the AIO ran fine. And then it's a set of RC and Power 1002 22,000 kV motors. So it's heavy because of walk snail. It's also got a 3D printed canopy, which is a little bit heavier. The molded canopies tend to be a little bit lighter. And I'd seen it on their website before, and just kind of I just kind of wrote it off. Like, I thought it would be a little bit heavy. They had it there, and Joshua made his way up to Micro Mayhem, and he was like, "Hey, do you want to fly it on camera?" And I was like, "Not really, but yeah, let's do it." Because, like, I don't know, it's Rotor Riot's event. It's amazing that they put this event on at all. You know, they're cool enough to give me a free pilot pass to come, you know, as long as I build Micro Mayhem, right? Like, I'm working for it, but they've been kind to me in the past, right? They've never wronged me like they have Bachreiner, for example. So yeah, I try to be cool to Rotor Riot, and you guys know, like, I don't pull punches. Like, if something sucks, I'm gonna say it sucks. It's why I don't have many sponsorships. It's just sort of the way that I am, and it just kind of feels ungrateful to be like that. You know what I mean? When, like, you're at their event and whatnot. But Joshua knows that I'm like that, so I was like, fine, yeah, I'll fly it. Like, he knows that if it sucks, I'm gonna say that it sucks, and I trust him to not, like, you know, trap me or whatever. But it actually flew really good. Reese, one of the paramotor guys, is now doing a lot of their editing, and he was running camera at the event, and so he was asking me about it before, and I was being really honest, like, you know, I think it's going to be a little bit heavy, and then I flew it, and when I was flying it, I was just like, wow, it's fine. I mean, it wasn't on my rates, it was on another transmitter, the stick ends were kind of garbage, for what I like, but I was really impressed by how it flew. And then, like, after the interview, Reese is like, "Man, I'm so glad I got that soundbite of you before, saying that, like, you thought it was going to be heavy." I'm like, "Yeah, that makes one of us, Reese." Like, you know, because it makes me kind of look like an idiot, but that's fine. That's real. I you know, you guys know me. So yeah, really, really impressed. And my favorite thing is that, like, that build is pretty similar to the builds that I'm going to be doing with walk snail this week, next week. So I'm, like, even more excited to do these walk snail builds. And I actually think that, so, like, my previous plan up until flying this thing was that I was going to make, like, the cinematic rig for chasing the RC drift cars, and that was kind of it. Like, I wasn't really going to do any more than that. But now, after flying this thing, I think I might do, like, 3 walk snail builds. I think I might do a freestyle 65 build, a freestyle 75 build, and then whatever the cinematic build is going to be. Alternatively, what I might do is a 65mm cinematic build, a 75mm cinematic build, and then just one freestyle build, because same deal with walk snail as with HD0. It's, like, it's heavy. You're carrying a significant amount of extra weight. So for freestyle, I know that's going to frustrate me. And, like, you know, like we've talked about at length, when it comes to freestyle, I don't think that the camera quality matters nearly as much. Like, you're flipping around, you're flopping around, all hell's breaking loose. Like, freestyle is about the camera movements. It's about the tricks that you do. It's not about how crispy the video quality is, right? Like, anybody can spend a bunch of money and get a camera that records really good video. You have to spend a bunch of time getting good at freestyle, right? So, like, I'm totally fine with and I think that for freestyle, it's going to be this. It's going to be this setup analog, because it just flies so much better. But I do absolutely want to have and do a little bit of testing on what's like the best, what's like the most capable walk snail freestyle TinyWhoop. We did some of that testing with HD0, and I think we're gonna kind of come to the same conclusions, but walk snail is a little bit lighter. It is it is like 1 point something grams heavier. I think I just said lighter a second ago. I didn't mean to say lighter. So yeah, and it's fun. You know, I get a kick out of doing testing. So yeah, that's what I think about the Vision 40. It's shockingly good. Those RC and power motors make really good power, and it just, yeah. I don't know. Do you guys remember? Did I do a 75 millimeter HD0 build, or did I just do the 65 mil setup? I have a feeling that I didn't do a 75 millimeter build. And like, yeah, it felt heavy because it is heavy. 75 millimeter builds feel heavy to me. I prefer the lighter weight 65 mil builds, and then you put digital on it, and it gains even more weight. But this spot here, this is a pretty big spot, right? Like when I do my walk snail build, I guarantee you, flying it here in the basement, it's gonna feel even smaller. Why is that light off? What's happening over there? So yeah, I'm sure that in the house here, it's gonna be even. It's not gonna be as good as in this spot, right? This is like a big old warehousey ish, like bando type spot, with big tall ceilings and whatnot. But here at Micro Mayhem, that Vision 40 was awesome. It was really, really, really good. Was the rig that you just saw me flying, our ultimate 65 millimeter analog build, was it more capable? Sure. Yeah, it's more accurate. It's smaller. It's got a better power to weight ratio. It's more of a scalpel through stuff, and I was able to do some like really just absurd dives, super accurately. But man, was it good, and man, is it nice to be able to see where you're going. Good Lord, the walk snail system is really good. It just demolished the multipathing, and the quality is just great. It just looks fantastic. So yeah, I'm really, really, really excited to do a couple of walk snail builds here in the next couple of weeks. So yeah, that's what I think about the Vision 40. I'm really, really impressed by it. I gotta be honest. I was expecting to not like it, and yeah, it felt great. A big part of the magic, though, is how good the walk snail system is. Like, you could just see everything, and it just, yeah, that's a thing. That is a real thing. HD0 was not nearly as, it just wasn't. It still kind of breaks up like analog, so you're still like reminded that you're flying an analog-ish system. Walk snail just didn't break up at all. That's actually a broken camera. I destroyed my little OV 231 camera on that crash. The lens popped off of the PCB. I'm gonna try to glue it back on there, but yeah, I did manage to break. Yeah, you just got to see the first destruction for me of Rampage. So now I'm flying. So that was all footage from a lightweight rig. It's actually a rig that's on the Newbie Drone prototype frame. It was cool to throw some abuse at it, and I actually was able to break it, so I'll be able to give Kelvin a little bit of feedback and show him where it broke. But yeah, that was a rig on Newbie Drone's new prototype 65 millimeter frame, and everything else is pretty similar to our Ultimate Freestyle builds, the Happy Model AIO, but 0702 30,000 kV motors. Now we're on 32,000 kV motors. And most of this footage is going to be from this rig on the 32,000s. So yeah, let me keep going on chat here. Garter Rotor says heat gun, push it out from the backside, the front bumper. Yep, I just need help from Maggie because I need someone to stand in front of the bumper. Right now, it broke all of the clips on the driver's side of the bumper. So if you try to push it out right now, the whole bumper just folds outwards. So I just need Maggie to stand there so that her legs are on either side of the bumper, so that I can push, and then the bumper will push out into her legs and it'll just pop out. And I'm gonna do it with a heat gun, so that I soften up the paint a little bit, and hopefully the paint won't crack. Yeah, I mean, I've been working on cars for the better part of 25 years, so this is not it's not bad at all. It could have been so much worse. Unfortunately, it broke a lot of the clips on the back of the hard plastic trim piece. But I think that there are enough clips for it to still sit flat. So I'm pretty sure this was a zero cost accident, other than the bunny's life. I don't know. Maybe, yeah. If the third thing that I ran into would have been something really big and heavy, maybe this little bit of bumper damage saved my life, right? Deer hit really hard, and my car is kind of small, so you never know. Gamma Gonad says it was me. I am CiottiFPV now. I have all the power in the world in my fingertips. What is that in reference to, Gamma? That was at 10:15. It's now 10:54. Sorry. All right, I'm going to go fast to try to get caught up on chat here. Ready? Morton Upshot says, safety moment directed at the public. Don't swerve off the road to avoid critters, or it's you that could be dead. Yeah, it's true. That's something that my dad taught me growing up, to just run them down. Just hit them. I'm lucky enough to have spent hundreds, if not thousands, of hours on the racetrack and learning how to drive, and yeah, I deal really like panic situations. Are once you've spent enough time at the track, panic situations like shit running out in front of you are like very controlled, and they're because at the racetrack you teach your brain to work at like 7 million miles an hour. You're looking for other drivers, you're looking for the braking point, you're looking for your turn in point, you're looking for the clipping point. Like, there's just all these things that are going on. So yeah, I'm lucky that, like, when stuff like that happens, I can actually think clearly and not just bury the brake pedal into the floor. But yeah, 100%, it is always better to just run them down and just deal with the damage that it does to the car. So yeah, don't try to be a hero unless you're a very confident driver and are not gonna, yeah, because putting two off like I did can get a little bit sketchy if you haven't done it a whole bunch of times, but I've done it a whole bunch of times. That is one of my favorite little gaps in this whole spot. I'm just gonna say it, this right here is the best TinyWhoop spot on the entire planet. I'm just going to say it. That's just it. There is no better TinyWhoop spot than this. This is it. There are so many gaps. There are so many dives. There are so many cool things. It's just bananas. The only problem with this spot is what you were just seeing there. The graded floor is like exactly the wrong size for 65mm TinyWhoops to fall in between the grates like this, and then you can't get it out. You have to take the walk of shame. Luckily, they don't fall between the grate, because there is like a down below area that's a pain in the ass. But you guys just saw a minute ago with all those pipes, it's like a little maze down there. But yeah, there were a lot of walks of shame. Chris Mel says, is it plastic? Try that hot water fix on that dent, it may pop out. I never thought to do hot water. Most people, to pop out dents in plastic body panels, will just leave it out in the sun, because the sun will heat your car's panels up pretty good. I just use a heat gun. I've always just used a heat gun and have had like really good luck. But I'm good, guys. I've been working on cars forever. I've got it all figured out. This is a massive power loop that I was trying to hit from that gap that you just saw there. I got it really close a couple times, and eventually I just said, you know what? Like, this isn't that impressive of a move. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop pounding on this rig with it. Hypnos FPV says, on the positive side, we all got to hang out more at Rampage. It's so true. I had a blast last night. I really did. So, yeah, a little bit of damage to the car is fine. Frank Nicholas dropping the CiottiFPV.com link. Thank you, dude. Derailed FPV says dump boiling water over it as you pull it out. It's plastic. Denzel the Terrible says thinking about making a bunny killer logo for you now. Please don't. Please don't. I'm sad, man. I don't like killing animals like that. It feels bad. Don't make me remember it. Daryl T says, what rates would you suggest for beginners on a Happy Model Mobula 6 analog ELRS? The stock Betaflight rates are always my suggestion for beginners. They are a perfect mix of like fast enough but not too fast. I also don't recommend that you like Daryl, if you ask someone that question and they suggest their rates to you, I do not recommend that you listen to them. There is no reason for any one of us to run anyone else's rates. Rates are very easy to understand. There's lots of videos explaining them, and they are fiercely individual. Like, you should have your own very specific rate profile. You should absolutely not run anybody else's rate profile. So, like, look up, like I said, just type, like, do a YouTube search here for, like, Betaflight rates. You'll get a ton of really good videos explaining what each of the three values does. It's very simple. One of the values adjusts the middle of the stick travel. One of the value adjusts the middle, one of the values adjusts the center of the stick travel. Another one does the middle of the stick travel. Another one adjusts the outside of the stick travel. So it's very simple. It's very easy to understand. And you just make changes. Yeah, so there, technically I got it, but that was kind of wobbly and I didn't make it all the way out, but whatever. Yeah, don't use anybody else's rates. Play around with rates, figure out what works best for your brain, and that's always going to be your best bet when it comes to rates. You can try other people's rates to just kind of play around, but like make sure that you don't like stick with them. Like customize them, set the rates specifically for you. All of our brains connect with rates in a different way, and it's just better to have your own specific rate profile. Kim Fuse says, same, no drinking for us, but sleep deprived as heck. Yeah, big time. McConnell Studio says, did you hang on to those LEDs and fiber for this year as well? I did, Mitch. Or Matt rather. We set it up. So the first day, what you're watching here, what we tried to do is just leave the driver, leave the tubes off, and we just use the little LED drivers. So for those that don't know, McConnell Studios sent a couple years ago a huge, amazing LED setup for us to use, which is set up here. The little drivers are just shooting little LED floodlights, little spots of different colors. But then eventually in this footage, you're going to see those tubes out. We did eventually hook the tubes up. I wish we'd done it sooner. I wish we'd done it for this day because they look so cool. But I thought that using them as little spotlights was doing more than it actually was, but the tubes are definitely the way to go. So next year we'll put all the tubes up and we'll do it earlier. This was like an absolutely ridiculous dive. So like when you turned over to get in there, it was just white. Like it was almost completely blind to do this dive. So it was kind of timing related. Nobody else even bothered to try this dive because it was just kind of ridiculous. I did get it on one. I think the very first attempt I technically got out. I didn't get it as clean as I wanted though, and then eventually I just kind of gave up. Oh wait, no, actually, you guys won't get to see. Tuner Taxi has the DVR of me hitting this dive. I was not recording when I actually hit this dive, but yeah, Tuner Taxi happened to be recording on his HT0 goggles, so I'll bug him at some point to send it over. But yeah, this is a cool little dive. Rock Crawler, I got to meet him as well. He says, hey, CiottiFPV and everyone. No one FPV says, well, just got back from flying 6-packs and bam, you're on. Awesome. Hell yeah. Love it. Double A says, oh, hey there, CiottiFPV. What's up, dude? No one FPV says, dude, I not only can't remember names, I have a difficult remembering faces. It sucks. Even someone I've known for years. Yeah, man, I hate not remembering names. But I meet a lot of people. It's really difficult. Casey says, are you going to show more footage? LOL, I am indeed, Casey. Kevin Sumner says, Sean tried the gimbal last night while I was at Containers and was explosively excited about it. Yeah, it's really neat. It's really, really, really neat. And for Sean, it would be great for Wings. Wings would really benefit, I think, from the from the head tracking gimbal thing. Athix says, how many batteries got ejected through the floor? There were a couple. There were a couple situations where people were crawling down. It was easy. There was good access to down below. So it was easy to get down there. Annoying, admittedly, but yeah, a bunch of people were chasing things around down in the basement area. I gotta scroll back up though. Hold on. I'm starting to get out of order in the chat. There we go. Kevin Sumner says, oh no, we got that. Brunswick Bean says, we set up this gimbal to auto level on the horizon and then a 3-position switch for low, mid, high gimbal position for what speed he's chasing at. And we had the FPV cam on the frame and not the gimbal, but it comes with mounts for an FPV setup along with the HD camera. What are we talking about here, Brandon? Are you talking about the Medlin setup? It sounds like you're talking about the Medlin setup. Yeah, the 3-position switch is really cool. So yeah, the 3-position switch that he's got, so the third position has full range all the way up, all the way down. The middle position has limited range. I forget what the third position is though, but it sounds like Brandon is telling us that. Ethan W says, thanks, you're certainly welcome. OMFPV says, you should get an affiliate link for that electronic goop. I just got mine too. I never even thought to ask them for one. Most websites don't have, they're kind of a smaller website, so I didn't even think to ask them for it. But yeah, it's a good idea, dude. That's a really good idea. Remy Tim says, what's up, you crazy bastards? How's Rampage? Nice dive. Thanks, dude. Monkey D says, holy tiny whoops. Remy Tim says, 1125 feet was the magic number, if I remember. Yeah, for some reason I thought I remembered 1300 feet, but I just looked up the video and dropped the link in the chat, and that said 1100. But yeah, one of the other guys that went and dove it put a Mavic up, and it said 1900 feet on the Mavic. So I don't know, but I did take a picture of the gate in front of it, and there's information on the tower. So I'll just look it up. I'll do that probably tomorrow. Here we go. Okay, so the question was, why, when I turned the rig over, did the video clear up? And I'm now finally caught up with chat. So 661 says antenna orientation. Nope, it was a Omni antenna. Morton Upshot says pointing your antenna back at you. Nope, because it's an Omni. Gardo Rotor I think is cheating, because I think I explained the situation, so I'm gonna throw out his suggestion, but he is correct. Cinnabon says Whoop isn't in the way. There we go. So Cinnabon's got it. Gardo Rotor got it, and maybe I didn't. Maybe he wasn't cheating just now, but yeah. So when I was climbing up the tower, when you're climbing up the tower, eventually once it gets high enough up, the PCB, which has a big old ground plane in it, which is a big old sheet of metal, is in the way, right? Like when I'm climbing up, it's like this. So the PCB is completely between the head of the antenna, the way that I have it mounted inside the canopy here, and my goggles. So it's, climbing up, it's like this, but then as soon as I turn it over, now I've got perfect line of sight between the antenna and my goggle antenna. And the signal came right back, and it was beautiful for the way down. Really, really, really cool. So if I wanted to do that dive again and do it cleanly, all I would need to do is run a longer antenna and hang it basically off the back. If the head of the antenna was back here on the way up, there would have still been line of sight between the antenna and the goggles, and it would have been nice and clear, and I could have climbed all. I wouldn't have made it home. It's funny. If I'd climbed that last little bit after the last guy wire, it would have crashed inside of the barbed wire fence, and I would have been screwed. We'll play with that next year. Next year, what I'll do is not do that little run back to the car. Just take straight off and just instantly start gaining altitude, and I'll try to get up to the actual top of that tower and let it come down. Here's some more tiny whooping for you. One of the cool things about this spot is there's like 3 layers to it. So this is like the bottom layer, and then there's like, you'll start to see like there's a middle layer with like lots of big pipes. So this was our beta FPV dive. If you hit this dive, you got a free beta FPV ELRS receiver, which is pretty cool. I think 2 guys hit it, maybe just one, guy. No, 2 guys hit it. 2 guys hit it. Yep. And I showed as many people this dive as I could. That was like a very easy way to kind of do it, but I got it a little bit more spectacularly a bunch of times, you'll see. But yeah, really cool little dive that we outlined with the rope lights, which is slick. Back into the chat, a bunch of you guys got it right. Flight controller blocks the antenna. FPV says, no one FPV says antenna on top, you below. King FPV says antenna orientation. Cinnabon says the antenna is now perpendicular to the receiver. Not quite. Brandon Spoopin says AIO in the way. ESC's making ripple. Double A says battery in the way. Technically, yeah, the LiPo batteries are not great for anything traveling through them. So yeah, and the battery is in the middle, lengthwise, front to back. So yeah, both the battery and the AIO were in the way. Motormat says either antenna orientation or voltage drop. Yeah, it wasn't voltage drop. That's a good guess, though. A bunch of you guys got it right. Very cool. You guys are so smart. Kevin Sumner says open prop might do better so guards aren't catching the wind as badly. Absolutely. Absolutely, an open prop rig would have done that dive better. But, I mean, that's no fun. You know what I mean? Like, what I absolutely love about that dive is that, like, that is the absolute, we found the absolute performance envelope, right, of the smallest possible thing. Like I love that. And as a testament to, like, how good these high KV motors are, even though there was obviously a ton of wind, there's no bullshit. There's no wobbles. There's no nothing, right? Like, I had to rotate myself in order to fight the wind, so we would have gotten a cleaner, more level dive. But what fun's that, You gotta do things the hard way, yo. Why is the video so bad? Oh, okay. So, yeah, this is probably when somebody with walk snails plugged in, so that there are going to be videos where the quality is just terrible, and it's from walk snail and HD0. They were just, if anybody was plugged in on either one of those, or DJI or O3, but we didn't really have any of that in here. It was just killing the analog stuff. So I would usually just kind of bail and just unplug and wait until nobody was plugged in on digital to fly. But sometimes I would stubbornly stay up in the air. Kevin Sumner also says Vision 40 has T-motor 12 amp AIO. Very cool. Very cool. That makes sense. I was wondering why they had a separate receiver in that. That makes a lot of sense now. So my build will be lighter because it won't have that external receiver on it. Denzel the Terrible says, I think I asked before, but forgot, what arm LEDs do you use on your glide? 9x15 flywoo? No, I use the 9x15 flywoos on all of the micros because they're shorter. On the glides, you've got plenty of arm length, so you can just run whatever. You can just run any of the arm LEDs. I don't really have a favorite right now, but the CL Racings are great. The Pyrodrone ones are made by CL Racing. And then the Tiny's LEDs ones are really good as well. I don't think you can go wrong, though. It's such a simple design that, yeah, you can just kind of buy whatever arm LEDs are in stock at wherever you're doing an order, and you're going to be fine. Monkey D says, is it wrong to ask what was the beef between them? Yeah, because it's not wrong to ask it, but I'm not going to get into it because I don't have all the details, and it's just, it's just not my place to get involved. But yeah, if you ask Bot, he'll probably tell you. But it's not like a big amazing story. It's just whatever. Miscommunication leading to whatever. AthixFPV says, how many batteries got ejected through the floor? Not many batteries, I don't think, but like antennas were falling through the floor, and yeah, a bunch of stuff fell through. But it was easy to get down there, so it was totally fine. That was an interesting crash. It hit the duct, it hit just wrong, and it like squished the duct, and it like pinched the duct like crazy. This rig took so much abuse. I'm going to show you on the close-up camera. I actually was able to do some damage to it. But man, this thing held up so good. I'm completely blown away by this, as was everyone else. Kevin Sumner says, you only did 65. I thought so. I have 75 builds with HD0 and it feels very comfortable. F75 with TinyWhoop 80225s. I should have had you fly it. So, I mean, I've done... The main reason that I didn't do a 75mm HD0 build is that I had worked out the weights, and I'd flown 75mm builds that were the weight that it was going to be, and at the time I was doing builds for the house, and here in the house, like, no weight is the name of the game. Like, for small locations, no weight is how you have something that flies really well. And so, yeah, that's why I didn't go down that rabbit hole. For a spot like this, a big open spot like this, the 75 rigs are much more realistic. Although, this is it. I mean, like, through the entire, like, almost, it was like 50% of people, and like a lot of the OG guys, at some point in the event, came up to me like, yo, man, everybody's talking about like how gnarly you're ripping at Micro Mayhem. And it's this, like, it's this that you guys are watching, and it's from this rig, and like this rig is a big part of the reason why I was able to do some of this nutty shit that I was doing. And quite honestly, I wouldn't have been able to do a lot of this stuff on a 75mm rig. A, because they're not as durable, and B, because they're heavier. So this, yeah, somebody's plugged in on digital, and they're just killing me. But yeah, I mean, it's not without its problems, right? Like, yeah, this rig flies really good, but the video looks like ass. I get stomped on by digital. It's so, yeah, everything comes at a price, you know? But yeah, there's a lot of really great options. We have a lot of amazing. So this is the center layer. I was telling you guys about the layers. And now that was the top layer up there. The top layer is like up above the I-beams. That was the middle layer, and now I'm dropping down to the lower layer. Not that you can really see anything, because analog and digital do not play well together. But yeah, and there, hey, there we go. So now this is now Sunday, and those are the clear light pipes on the floor, running across the ground, which is a better setup. So that was pretty rad. Remy Tim says, did they move Micro Mayhem to a different part of the facility? Yeah, they moved it just 90 degrees across to the building with the ladder dive that Steele put 1 million batteries into, and unbelievably Bubby did on the first try. Oh my god, I could not believe that. But I don't know, man, young kids, right? So yeah, this is a much better spot for Micro Mayhem, man. This is like, although to be honest, they should probably change the name to like TinyWhoop Mayhem, because like this is such a tight spot that like it's really a TinyWhoop spot. But man, like this is so good. This is so good. I have not had this much fun flying. That's not true. I have so much fun flying TinyWhoops here, but yeah, brilliant spot to fly TinyWhoops right here. June Loco says, use boiling water instead, works way better. Noted. Very cool. Kevin Sumner says, hard agree. Micro Mayhem this year lived up to its name. Yeah, man. Very much so. Happy FPV says, uploading one of my dives now, will link shortly. Very cool. Happy FPV is one of the guys that also dove that tower. So in one of, for me at least, in one of the funnier moments at Rampage, Happy FPV, I think it was telling me about him, and I forget who the other person was that did that big radio tower dive with 5-inch rigs. One of them had a crossfire failsafe at the top, and the other one lost video and crossfire at the top. And like an asshole, I'm like, really? I did that dive with a TinyWhoop on my way here. And he was like, shit, man, if you're doing that dive with a TinyWhoop, there's something definitely wrong with our gear. Which, like, you know, I mean, it's whatever. But like, it was just a super funny moment. that, you know, an analog ELRS TinyWhoop, and like, yo, this is this is one of the ELRS TinyWhoops where the ceramic antenna broke off, and I like jankily soldered on a little piece of wire. I mean, I used a wire that is the correct length, and like I did a good job with it, but like, you know, this is like the opposite of a long range rig, and it was able to do that dive. Yeah, I'm sure those guys just have something weird going on. I don't know. But yeah, there are times that ELRS is going to work better than Crossfire. And maybe this is one of those times. I don't know. Maybe those guys have shredded antennas or there was something else going on. But yeah, it was just a super funny moment of like, fuck, man. Like, you know, your 5-inch rig receiver and or video system is having an issue when a TinyWhoop does the same thing and doesn't get a fail safe, right? So that was super funny. Hopefully that wasn't hopefully I didn't come off as insulting with that, but what else we got in chat here? I think I'm maybe starting to get caught up here. Frillo just says good night, all gangles. I have to be up in 6 hours. I think he's probably already gone. Kevin Sumner says, happy FPV. Maybe we need to put GPS on a rig in the air next to the tower to get an actual reading. Well, I don't know. I don't know what oh, okay. I was wrong. Happy didn't put a Mavic up. He used the GoPro's stickers altimeter, which I think functions off of GPS. I could totally be wrong, but yeah. Thank you for correcting me on that, Happy. Yeah, we need to get GPS up at that tower to get. Although, I don't know. I mean, the sign says what it is. I would have to assume that it's right, and that's what Dan Remy Tim looked up last year, was the numbers from the tower, from the sign. I have that here, so I'm curious enough to hold on. Let's just look it up real quick. I'm gonna do this off camera. Let's see. According to this, it is. According to this, Atlanta. No, it's not in Atlanta. According to this, it is 459 meters. But the part but I think I stopped at 434. It says 434 meters is the to the top of that guy wire. And above, yeah, we don't want AGL. Yeah, we want ground elevation. Yeah, so I think that's it. I think maybe the GoPro app was off a little bit, because that's definitely not 1,900 feet. But man, what a horrendous elevation for a 26, 27 gram TinyWhoop to be able to climb up to and then come back down in relative ease. Pretty wild stuff. I can't imagine that they're wrong on the website here. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think we actually need to put GPS up on there, because this is like an official thing. Hey, there we go. All right, we are caught up on chat. Photon Knees says, I don't understand how your eyes can decode such bad image. Lots of practice, man. Lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of practice. Thousands of hours of flying. It's usually better than this. There's a couple pilots in the air right now. When the image quality looks this bad, it's because there's a couple pilots in the air. A lot of times it's when there's somebody on digital in the air. But yeah, OG life, yo. OG pilots know Know all about this. All right, cool. Yeah, happy FPV, perfect. Kids these days will never know the struggles of analog. Although they should, because analog TinyWhoops are the absolute jam. So let's look at yeah, okay, so I don't we're caught up on chat. I don't really know how much else you guys are going to care about in terms of like the day-to-day stuff. Not to mention that like I spent most of my time in Micro Mayhem flying because it was just so much fun, and like so many cool people were coming and saying hi, and like yeah, so I really spent most of my time doing what you're watching me doing right now, and just hanging out with really cool people that came up. So yeah, there, and now this is the down below the grates kind of area, just farting around. It's like a maze down there, yo, so wild. So let's start taking a look at some of the you guys are probably sick of watching this analog flight footage anyway. On where are we at here? This is file 44F. We got through a good chunk of this. All right, so I'm gonna mark this red, and then maybe we'll watch the rest of this on Wednesday, I guess. But let me check like the last of the files. Anything crazy happened towards the end here? No, not really. Okay, cool. So we're gonna watch the rest of the TinyWhoop footage on Whoop Wednesday this week. Let's take a look at some of the damage here. I think that'll be a nice way to kind of round this on out. Oh my god, FPV Geek in the house. He says, remember the first Rampage? All analog. So let's talk about this. Like a bunch of us were actually talking about this over the weekend. This Rampage felt very differently. The flight lines felt very different. And it has a lot to do with video systems. So yeah, Ron DeLeos, the FPV Geek, and I met, I think, at the first Rampage 5 years ago. And all analog. That Rampage was all analog. I think there were maybe a couple people that had just gotten DJI. Maybe not, though. It might have been literally all analog. And it was awesome because at any given time, everybody could watch everybody else. So, like, when you were waiting to fly, you'd get your shit ready, and then you would just sit there with your analog goggles, and you would bounce between the channels, and you would watch everybody else fly. And I love that because like everybody else is like cheering you on, and like you get like oh and oohs and ahs, and it's really, really cool, right? Like that used to be one of the really cool things about FPV is that like when you would fly with more than one person, you would watch each other, and it was really cool. Well, then a year goes by and DJI hits pretty hard, and so Rampage 2021 was pretty much split. Not quite 50-50. There were still way more people on analog, but it was much more of a split, analog versus DJI. And so on the flight lines, it was like 50-50. Like 50% of people could watch, and so now you've got half as many people able to watch, basically. So that like environment of like oohs and ahs and like hey and people cheering each other on is now cut in half. Last year was the announcement of Walk Snail and Fat Shark, right? So it was still split, but it was pretty much a 50-50 split, maybe even bordering on less analog and more DJI, right? So again, it's that split. Well, this year, it was split 4 ways. There were tons of people, way more people than I would have thought on HD0. Lots of people on Walk Snail. Lots of people on O3. Not many people on analog. And plenty of people, wow, it was split 5 ways, not 4 ways, 5 ways. And then some people on Vistas. Lots of people on Vistas. And so at this point, nobody really bothers to watch. Like, the people waiting to fly are just not wearing goggles because unless they're there with a friend that they know is on the same video system that they are, people just don't bother to like, and so like everybody waiting to fly is just kind of hanging out and talking to each other, which is cool, but like you don't have like this ongoing like banter, and you don't have a lot of like the people cheering each other on. Like when I was hanging out at for the not much time that I spent hanging out at like 5-inch flight lines, I would try to like get people involved a little bit more in like the pilots, because what I noticed happening is like the pilots were just up flying and it was just silent. Like they're just up doing their thing, like as if they're out flying all alone. And like we've talked in the past how like I personally I prefer that. Like I prefer to fly alone. Like I love going out with Patrick. Like one other person is great. But like more than one person, it like, yeah, it's just not my favorite thing in the world to do. But it was hard. Like I know I'm in the minority there. Like most people love it when there's a bunch of people. So that was kind of a bummer. That like FPV has kind of become more antisocial than it already was, because there are so many different video systems now. So yeah, that was weird, and like it was really a problem for the freestyle competition, because yeah, there was like a 20%, like, so a pilot goes up to, you know, do their freestyle run to be judged. And like the judges have to have 5 different sets of goggles, right? And wait, is it 5 analog HD0 Vistas 03 walks now? It's 5, Jesus. And then everybody that's there to the competition that wanted to spectate, there's only a 20% chance that the pilot that's flying is going to be on the same transmission system that they're on. So yeah, the times, they are changing. So yeah, that was definitely different. That's something I really, really, really did specifically notice was very different this year. And it wasn't just me. A bunch of people noticed that. So that was, yeah, kind of interesting. Remy Tim says, I don't think digital existed yet at Rampage 2018. It was all analog. Wow. Yeah. I remember that first Rampage. I remember the sight test more than I remember that actual first Rampage. And yeah, wow, all analog. Jesus. Kevin Sumner says, I think we could get a TV or projector in Micro Mayhem next year for spectating analog HD0 on Walksnail. DJI continues to be jerks about video out. Yeah, it's true. That would be cool. That would be cool to have a projector in there. We should try to figure that out. Tuner Taxi had a great little setup. So yeah, we should bug him to see if he can. And he's just a wizard with things, many things. Hypno says, my last run chasing the cars, I ran HD0 and got stomped on hard and had to bail out. Yeah, a lot of people getting stomped on too, which becomes way more confusing, right? With 5 different video systems, it's like, yeah, it's tough. It's tough. It's I ain't got no solutions. It kind of is what it is. But let's take a look at some damage, yo. Damage time. Wait, no. Oh, hold on. No, guys, I won some shit. I won. Hold on. We won't look at what I won first. This is the goodie bag that all volunteers got. And one of the coolest things that was in here is actually this Cobb LED headlamp, which I don't know where I put it. It was I had it in my pocket. Here it is. Yo, look at this thing. Look at this thing. You guys have probably seen this before, but and I've seen it before too, but I love that I own one now. So this is a big bright Cobb LED, and then this is the battery pack on the side here. And so that's like, these are pretty bright studio lights, like, so for this to be throwing actual brightness on me is kind of nutty. So that's the high setting. There's the low setting, and then it also has a little spotlight here. This thing is this is really handy. If you've never used a headlamp before, oh my god, like they are so nice. Like, sure, you look like an idiot, but I mean, who cares? So this is actually really helpful. Like, this is going to be amazing working on the cars in the garage, and this is going to get used a lot. So this is actually kind of one of my favorite things that I got. So yeah, awesome. And it says it's got a little Fat Shark logo on the side. So super cool. If you're a garage nerd like me. Can I throw this away? Is there anything in here? I think there's a little charging cable, but it's probably power only, so it can go to hell. Die power. I don't even check them anymore. If it comes with something that doesn't need to pass data, I just throw it away. We've got a whole bunch of propellers here. Ooh, some GemFan starlights. Ooh, wow, I don't have these. These are orange starlights. I think that's the only color that I don't have. So that's super cool. The starlights. Oh, and the moonlights. So a set of the starlights, a set of the moon. I haven't looked through this yet. The Rotor Riot Rampage specific moonlights. Very cool. And then we've got some GemFan. Oh, very cool. The Rotor Riot specific teal 5143s. Very cool. These 5143s were my favorite props for a long time. Long time. We've got some. So these are the other Rotor Riot specific colored. Oh, cool. These are Vanny styles. Nice. 5136s in a limited edition purple. Some GemFan stickers. We've got some HQ P 3.3s. I didn't know these existed. All right, so these seem similar to their Juicy props. I found them to be a little bit fragile, but with the fragility comes lightweight, so they'll perform really good. Just, don't crash them. Oh, that's cool. I saw people with this, and I was like, where's that from? So this is a new color, Rotor Riot lanyard. Wow, it's set up really long right now. Shorten this up a little bit. Yeah, last year they had the teal ones, which are really cool, and now they've got the purple ones, which are pretty rad. It's a big, thick, chonky boy with a big, thick ass. You could pick a car up with this. That's pretty slick. To be honest, this will probably end up in a giveaway. If anybody is desperate for a Rampage Rotor Riot lanyard, hit me up. Otherwise, it's going to end up in a giveaway, almost certainly. They always do these little bracelet jibby-jabbies. Last year they were purple. This year they're that cool teal color. Some more GemFan stickers here. Another, okay, Freestyle 4S GemFan props in that purple. Another really good propeller. So the GemFan Freestyle F3 and F4, or 3S and 4S, I guess they're called now. These are pretty much GemFan's version of these super lightweight and kind of fragile propellers. That I think it's like the J designation. It used to be the J designation. Now it's the P definite. HQ really just, they changed their propellers an awful lot. I can't keep track of their naming convention because it feels like every month they put out a new propeller that looks a lot like the old one with a different letter or number. Little magnetic screw jibbo jabbo. This will get used in the garage as well. Got a whole bunch of stuff that is going to get used for fixing cars and working on cars. Yeah, I don't need something this big here at the workbench, but man, this will be nice for working on cars. These are cool too because the back is magnetic as well, so you can stick it. You can't see it, but well, you can see it. Look, you can stick it to like surfaces like that, and then you can. Usually that works. There it is. Throw screws at it and they stick to it. Yeah, this will be amazing in the garage. Put that in the garage pile over there. And I think that's it. Yeah. So that's that. They had a freestyle competition, and then they had a submit an edit competition. just like last year. And so just like last year, I submitted a one of the categories is micros, and I submitted a video. I took the well, those of you that are patrons have had access to the video and the edit that I put up. It is in the Patreon only playlist, which is in here. And yeah, it is a shortened up version of the RC drift car edit that I did. So here you go. If you join my Patreon for as little as 10 cents a day, you'll get access to a playlist with the edit that I just put in the chat, but like almost 90 more. There's a ton of really fun, unreleased, private, Patreon-specific edits, and you'll get access to them for $3 whole a month by going over to CiottiFPV.com and joining my Patreon. And, you know, you'll have the satisfaction of supporting a dude that's trying to do something really cool for a living. And it's hard, man. It's hard to do this full time. So those of you that support me, I really appreciate it. And yeah, if you got a couple extra bucks a month, I would love to. And I really do work hard to make it well worth the 10 cents a day. So hopefully, yeah, 10-ish hours of live streaming a week every week is worth that among all the other stuff that is on Patreon. All right, so those props go back there. So yeah, I submitted that, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to attend the voting, and a bunch of us were breaking down. Before I forget, massive shout out to Kevin Sumner, and Tuner Taxi. They were like the main guys hanging out in Micro Mayhem, helping me set it all up. T-Bird as well. Tyler was helping out, set up, breakdown, hanging out. Yeah, so many cool people, but Kevin and Tuner Taxi were just like busting their asses to help out, and like I said, a bunch of other people, but those were the us three were there for like the whole time, just like working. I won the the micro, so I won for that RC drift video. I didn't show these. No, I did show these. I did show you guys these. I've begun to pimp these out, of course. So I've got a little fly broken prop club Minecraft-ish strap on it. I threw the new apple colored CiottiFPV logo on top, and then I got these really nice Menace left-hand circular polarized patch antennas that fit really nice. And then I don't know where these stubbies came from, but they were with the goggles. I don't know who bought these. Maybe Bot bought these. Maybe Captain Cannoli bought these. But yeah, my walk snail goggles are all pimped out now. Shout out to FPV Exchange for sending these to Bot. Shout out to Bot for sending these to Captain Cannoli. Shout out for Captain Cannoli for sending these to me. These came last week, right? You guys may remember. Last week these showed up. And then at Rampage, I won these. So if you're in the market for a set of Fat Shark Dominators, let me know. What are the chances? Like, what are the chances? I don't know. I would rather have the darker goggles just because they're a little bit like more incognito. So yeah, I'm gonna keep these. I feel kind of weird like selling these, but by selling these, I can take the money and use it to buy more stuff to test. So I think it feels weird selling these, but you know, I have to approach it a lot of this stuff like as a business, and yeah, I can use the money from selling these to get a bunch of motors and some AIOs and stuff like that. So yeah, if you're in the market for Fat Shark Dominators and you want to pay 20 or 40 bucks less than what you can get them for brand new, I have an absolutely unopened. I'm not even gonna open these up. So yeah, reach out to me. I would love to sell them for 20 bucks less than whatever they are, the cheapest on the internet. But if you have to get a better deal than that, I can probably do 40 bucks less. But they are absolutely brand new, and I'm not going to open them. So hit me up if you're in the market for Fat Shark Dominators. I really can't afford to just give them away. So yeah, don't get your hopes up for that, unfortunately. I realistically, like, yeah, it's FPV is not a great way to make a lot of money. I would not give up doing this for the world. But yeah, it's a financial struggle for sure. As it should be. Like, doing something this cool for a living kind of should be, like, you know, there has to be something not amazing about it. The other thing that I can use the money from selling those for is snagging a bunch more of these V2 avatar kits to get some of the 3-inch rigs up on Walksnail to see how it is for micros. And that's another thing that I'm really excited about. So, yeah, and I won this as well. This is amazing. This is super cool to have won this. I now have one of the V2 systems. So, yeah, man, the next like month or two is going to be pretty Walksnail heavy. I hope you guys are cool with that. I'm pretty excited about it, man. Onboard DVR recording in 1080, and they don't cost 260 bucks per. Like, the O3 system is great and all, but god damn, yo. Who's got $260 per rig to put into just the camera and VTX? Certainly not me. So I'm really, really, really excited about Walksnail, especially now having flown it a couple of times, and like the goggles seem to work really, really well. I've certainly heard some complaints about it. I'm hoping to maybe, I don't know, figure some of those complaints out, and I don't know, maybe people are using weird firmware mismatches, or the shitty antennas that they come with are just junk. But you guys know how I do. We're going to be testing. We're going to be talking about it. We're going to be sharing ideas. And, yeah, I mean, there's a chance that Walksnail could be, especially now that they've got 20 by 20 mounting, there's a chance that Walksnail could be like kind of the ultimate video system for 3-inch rigs that are sub 250. It's a really intriguing kind of setup. So stay tuned for that. Plenty of that coming. And then on the way home, I stopped at Grayson Hobby real quick because it was literally 1 minute out of the way. And I snagged a Radiomaster ELRS receiver and a couple of sets of HQ props that have been long since discontinued. 3-inch HQ props, kind of weird oddball ones that I just wanted to add to my massive propeller collection. So there's your mailbag. I lied. That was not your mailbag. This is your mailbag. This is a box from Weebleed FPV that I put this order in 1 day too late. And it was waiting here at the house. It's okay. I wanted a bunch more of the Weebleed FPV 300 mAh BT 2.0 TinyWhoop batteries, but I didn't end up needing them anyway, so it was fine. But yeah, official mailbag. Shout out to Weebleed. Zotex sending a whole bunch more stuff for giveaways. Very, very cool of him. Just loading this box up with stuff for you beautiful people. Couple of Weebleed FPV koozies. A whole bunch of these really cool shirts. These shirts are like this, they're almost like football jersey material where they have like tiny little holes so they'll breathe really well in the summertime. The only thing with these shirts is, oh, this one's a large. Okay. Previously, the only shirts that he'd sent were like smalls, but we got some more variation in sizes here, so that's great. So I've got a large, an extra large, a 2X, and then he'd previously sent a small, 2 smalls, I think. No, a small and a medium. Oh, very cool. So I already have a medium, so I've now got one of every size on these shirts, and what I've been doing with these shirts is they're a part of the TinyWhoop giveaways. So First Monday night live stream, I guess a week from today. Is that right? 2 Mondays from today, is going to be the first Monday live stream of June. So that'll be a giveaway live stream, and the TinyWhoop tier, those shirts, a koozie, a bunch of this cool stuff will be included in there. What else do we have in here? What are these? Look at these. What in the world? That's pretty slick. I guess maybe Weebleed had these made for prizes for TinyWhoop races. But yeah, a bronze, silver, and gold. These are thick bastards. These are these are heavy boys. It's the Weebleed FPV logo, the little TinyWhoop logo on a little lanyard. That's pretty slick. I don't know. So I guess at some point I need to have a TinyWhoop competition, and these will be the prizes. That's kind of fun. So yeah, stay tuned. There'll be a TinyWhoop competition at some point, and these will be the prizes for that. I'm gonna put these next to my desk here to remind me to do that at some point. What is this? We got a little goodie bag. So my order, what I actually ordered, everything you've seen so far is just extra stuff that Zotek sent through. My order was for a couple of Singularity antennas here, and then I think I bought 2 packs of batteries, but it looks like Zotek sent 5, so the other 3 will go into more TinyWhoop giveaways. Let's see. I usually say on them. Cool. So here's the 450s, so that's a giveaway set of batteries. These are the 300s, these are mine. 300s, these are mine. And then looks like another box of 450s and another box of 300s. These are for you beautiful people. So yeah, shout out to Weebleed for keeping the madness going and supporting you guys as well as me and all that good stuff. And then there's this little baggie here with some stuff in it. Oh, nice. So a whole bunch more of these Weebleed FPV rubberized magnets, which are very cool. I've been giving these away for months. Ooh, a new sticker. A new Weebleed sticker. That's cool. Get out of there. Oh my god, this is going to make a huge mess. So we've got... Oh, that's rad. Weebleed FPV and Friends. That looks like that's... it looks like Zotek is maybe doing some charity work. That's rad. That's a sticker of the Weebleed FPV jersey that the racers wear, I think, at the events. I'm assuming is how that works. Shows you how much I know about racing. FPV racing, at least. I'll tell you anything you need to know about motorsport racing. Salt City Racing used to be. Don't quote me on that, but I think that was their old company name or whatever. And then we've got a nice little holographic one. That's a rad sticker right there. And then another one of these. Very, very cool. So yeah, a lot of this stuff, I mean, pretty much all this stuff you'll see in the giveaways coming up. So stay tuned for that. Whoo, boys, I am fading. I am going to show you some damage, and then I'm going to get on out of here because I need to get some shut eye. I need to get some shut ass. Alright, more stickers going in here, and then I'm going to jam a bunch of these magnets in here, and away we will go. So, damage. The first bit of damage was that camera lens letting go, which I'm hoping that I can fix, because that OV231 camera is like an old school, a really cool little old school camera. Oh, hey. Hey, before I forget, check these guys out. Fly Tribe. This is the first episode of their magazine. They're doing an FPV magazine. It's the Florida Boys. There's so much cool content in here. And yeah, figure out where you can get one of these magazines, because it's amazing. These guys are doing such a good job with this. Super like Thrasher vibes. You old bastards will remember Thrasher magazines. Yeah, it's really got that feel to it. Some really cool articles. And I mean, just, you know, an FPV magazine. Like, I don't know if we've ever had an FPV magazine. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, lots of really, really cool stuff. There's a... it's not going to focus on it, but... Well, hold on. Here. Point your phone camera at your screen for this, and it'll take you right to them. There you go. I bet you that works. I bet you can point your phone camera at your TV right now, and it'll take you over their website. But yeah, I mean, just Google Flytribe, FLYTRIBE, or just search for them on Instagram or Facebook, or yeah, they're all over the place. And yeah, support them, yo. Like, this is cool. This is really cool. Like, this is the kind of thing that legitimizes FPV. You know what I mean? And it's just really cool to support people that are doing good stuff. Like, I think my favorite thing, to be honest, about this magazine is that it has a whole bunch of stills, right? Like, FPV is all about like GoPros and video, and there typically aren't many photographers floating around. And so to get to see a whole bunch of still photography of FPV is really, really cool. And it's just a slick thing to kind of have sitting on the coffee table, and, you know, a friend is going to come over and be like, what's that? And it's like, this is a magazine dedicated to what I'm obsessed with. And it's the kind of thing that can very easily get people interested in the hobby that otherwise wouldn't be. So yeah, thanks to Flytribe for making this mainly, like, because this is hard, yo. This is hard to do. This is hundreds of hours of work, and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. So yeah, support people doing, even if you're not into magazines, support people that are doing stuff like this, because it really benefits the community. And they've done a wonderful job with this. So yeah, big shout out to Flytribe. And the guys that are doing this are really cool guys too, which kind of helps. And yeah, they're down in Florida, and Florida is like very quickly become like the mecca of FPV. So there's no better place for this to get done than Florida, if I'm honest. So, yeah, let's dive into some damage, and then I'm going to wrap this thing up here. And, that box flipped over, and get some shut-eye. Actually, hold on. Let me really quickly get caught up on chat. I don't think it'll take long. Kevin Sumner says, DJ, I decided that Channel 8 is in a different spot in the race. It's been really crappy. Kevin Sumner says, quick warning, Race 8 is no longer safe from Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi 6 gigahertz is turning up and has at least one channel overlapping R8. That sucks. Morton Upshot says, any idea why the 2S Vision 40 is $60 more than the 1S? What is the justification for the additional money? I have absolutely no idea, Morton. The one that they had there was 1S, and I would not get it on 2S. 2S is not going to be a good idea. It's 1S is the way to go. Apache Smoke in December says, good morning. Thanks for coming through, brother. Danzilla says, you could have a big goggle giveaway. I wish. Someday, mark my words, yo. Someday, I and this channel will be big, and not big, but someday I will figure out how to make enough money here in FPV to do bigger giveaways like some of the more successful folks. But yeah, for right now, it has to stay small, and I have to be very frugal is the word, right? Riot9 says, did you get a volunteer shirt this year? You know, I didn't. Shit. I wonder, I bet you I bet you they had them, and I just didn't, because I didn't like check in or anything. I just went directly, look, when I got there, I just went straight to Micro Mayhem and started working. That stinks. I might shoot a message to Stacy and say, hey, you got any more volunteer shirts? Damn. Thank you for that reminder, though. I completely forgot about that. All right. Damage report. Oh wait, no, that's not it. Okay. So, I can't show you. I can't really show it. I'll keep it moving, but this is the rig that the camera broke on. This is the rig that's on the newbie drone prototype frame, and I was actually also able to break this prototype frame. So yeah, some carnage here. This was the first carnage of the event. Then I flew a few batteries on the Jungle Gym Basher and broke the support here. Let me show you. And man, it did not like having the battery in there without that support. There's supposed to be, well, yeah, look at it on this side. See the support here? It broke clean off on this side, almost as if it was never there. But yeah, it's supposed to be right across here. And it did not like not having that support because with the battery now, like, cantilevers down and is like just kind of all over the place and is wobbly, and yeah, so this thing needs a new Mobula 7 V4 frame. $3 failure. Then we had, well, so believe it or not, those were the only TinyWhoop explosions that prevented me from continuing to fly. We did some damage to this, but it just kept going and going and going and going and going. And this thing I didn't put many batteries through, but it didn't suffer any damage whatsoever. So this guy survived. But this little fella, he had quite the experience at Rotor Riot Rampage. I must have put 50 batteries through this in Micro Mayhem. And the only damage... Hey, look at these, by the way. This is an Axis Power Cinematic 1404.5. We're going to talk more about that later this week. This is absolutely absurd. The amount of abuse that this thing put up with. Like, you can see, like, the ducts are now all dirty from just bouncing off of stuff. Like, there's creases in here from it getting jammed inside of the grates. I mean, just constant slamming and abuse and just unbelievable amount of just mangling that this thing took. But the canopy suffered some real anger. So there's a crack here. It really cracked up here. Like, it's really starting to let go. You see that? See that? So, like, it's cracked straight through on top. I mean, it's still completely fine. This is still absolutely flyable, but, like, I am going to get a replacement canopy because it is just, like, yeah, actual damage. Like, they are not actually indestructible, but, like, I got to be honest, man, this shit's indestructible. This is ridiculous. And this is on top of all the bashing here at that, right? This is not fresh. Like, this had been bounced off the hardwood floors upstairs, coming down from, like, the 25-foot ceiling or whatever it is, over and over and over again. Right? Like, this is what durability looks like when you just absolutely give it death over and over and over and over again. But credit to Happy Model. The camera is still protected. The camera is still, like, able to hold the up tilt, and it's still facing straight ahead, and it just continued to go and go and go and go and just get abused. And the frame, like, this Meteor 65 frame is not even broken. Like, it's creased up enough where, like, I am going to replace this frame because it's $3 effing. But the frame didn't even break anywhere. And, like, yeah, this is it, man. This is the ultimate freestyle TinyWhoop because of, among other reasons, because of this. This durability is just everything, man. And it can dive a 1,100-foot tower. Come on now. So there's your TinyWhoop carnage for the event. There was a little bit of 5-inch carnage. This is the test bed rig. I flew this for 30 seconds, crashed it into a spot at the bottom of Container Chaos that had a bunch of water, took it back off. It flew for like 5 more seconds and then fell out of the air and was acting really weird. It's probably fine now that it dried out. I didn't realize that it was wet. I didn't realize that spot that I crashed was wet. Once I did, I was like, I thought the ESC blew up, but yeah, this should be fine. We'll check it out at a later date. Look at this. I get to load the wall back up. The wall looks weird without all the quads on it, right? So there's that guy. This analog rig, apparently the VTX blew up at some point because I plugged it in and there was no video. And yeah, I don't understand. So I need to pull this apart and swap out the Immersion RC Tramp. I make it a point. I was shocked by that because I make it a point to not do to actually not do what I just did. The wall is for working quads. If a quad doesn't work, it doesn't go up on the wall. So if I go out and fly and break something, it doesn't go back up there. And I suggest you guys do the same way. Have a spot for the working rigs and then have a spot for the broken rigs. And that way, like when you come home and you don't feel like fixing it, you can at least put it in the broken spot versus mixing it in with the working quads. And that's, I slacked so this is not going back on the wall. This is going to go, it looks so silly with the wall all... No, I'm sticking to it. I'm actually going to take this down. And yeah, I'm going to put these in the on-deck circle, as I sometimes call it, down here next to my desk. So, yeah. Those two guys need love. The one of them, I bet you it doesn't need anything, but I at least want to plug it in to make sure that it fires up and hover it and make sure it's not acting weird, right? So yeah, the walls for rigs that you know are good to go. And I don't know that one is good to go quite yet, but I bet you it is. And then the star of the show this weekend was actually the Rossi, man. The Rossi was kicking ass. I probably flew like 12 batteries on this damn thing. I had a blast. We'll take a look at that footage maybe on Friday. Admittedly, I was very rusty. I had a really good time, but the flying that I was doing was not anything to write home about. And I did manage to break it. I did manage to break the antenna, so this is also not going on the wall. But yeah, the Rossi here. So that if you're not a fan of the Expanse, turn this nonsense off and get over to Prime right now. The Expanse is I think the best sci-fi show I've ever seen, and it's on Amazon Prime. And there's a ship in there called the Rocinante, which is like a tanky kind of ship that gets, yeah, you'll see. Go watch the show. You can thank me later for turning you on to the show. This is the Vista build on 16mm gray standoffs. And yeah, it's got the little, Caddx, I don't know, whatever. It's got the 14mm, the tiny little, Vista compatible camera in it, and T-Motor F40 Pro 4s, of course, and it's pretty whooped. I slammed this pretty good a couple times and killed a motor, the right rear motor. I managed to bend the bell up so bad that it wouldn't spin, swap that out, and on that same hit, it hit hard enough to... I don't know what happened. One of these screws was just missing. See how there's one purple one and the rest are red? It was just gone. I don't know if it vibrated out. I really doubt Nebula Pro Nano. Thank you. I don't know if it vibrated out or if it ripped out on the crash, but I doubt that it ripped out on the crash because it would have stripped out the press nut. I don't quite understand. But that one was gone, and this one was really loose. This thing took a good amount of abuse and really did well. And I put these Brain 3D side load session mounts to the test, and they performed beautifully too. So that was really, really, really nice. Brain 3D added a little bit of a bumper to their side load mount for me and that worked brilliantly, and all of my sessions survived, so that was pretty cool. But yeah, this was where most of the footage came from. Almost all of my freestyle flying was done through DJI, and I still don't like it. It's still freezing when I bump into stuff, so I'm still... yeah, I'm still absolutely not going to switch over to DJI for freestyle. I gotta be honest, so there's a chance I might go over to Walk Snail. I doubt it, but there's a chance. I'm gonna test it on the TinyWhoops and the 3-inch rigs first. I would love to be able to see where I'm going with 5-inch rigs, but at the moment, I still think analog is better. And I know a lot of you are gonna disagree with that, and that's okay. But yeah, this thing took a hell of a beating, and I need to swap the antenna out, so it's going to go into the on-deck circle as well! And I think that's all the carnage, believe it or not. I did not fly this. I did fly this, but all I did was beat up propellers. I flew a bunch of this. Those are 3 rip squeaks in a row. This is my frame. I just brought this to show it off. And that's it, man. I didn't fly anything else there. I didn't fly any of the Cinesplores. I didn't put the, kind of criminal, but I didn't put the fresh AOS 3.5 build up in the air. I meant to, but I was just super busy. So yeah, I'm going to have to fly this around the house to give it a good flight test. Which I'm excited for. I'm excited to see how this is, with and without the Gepar seat guards. And I don't know. I can't think of anything else. I'll think of more stuff, and we'll talk more about it on Whoop Wednesday, almost certainly. And we'll talk about these new Axis motors and all kinds of other stuff. Let me get caught up on chat, and I will. I'm gonna shut this thing down. FPV NZ says, love your work. Quick question. Beta FPV Meteor 75. I have to calibrate the gyro before each flight. Any ideas why otherwise is so slow it's unflyable? So beta flight calibrates the gyro no matter what. Every time you put power to a rig, beta flight is going to calibrate the gyro. There's nothing you can do about that. Like every rig that's ever been built does that. So yeah, that just sort of is what it is. And then any ideas why otherwise it's so slow that it's unflyable? I hate to be mean, but that's just sort of down to like the powertrain that Beta FPV has chosen for that rig, which I don't really know offhand, but I'll take a look at for you. So it looks like that would explain it. So yeah, they've put a very, very, very low kV motor on here that's very heavy. 1102 18,000 is a bad motor choice for this rig. You want like 25,000 kV or like minimum 22,000 kV. And you also don't need this heavy of a motor. There's no reason for this rig to have an 1102. So yeah, a much better motor for this rig is going to be the 0802 1.5 millimeter shaft options from TinyWhoop.com. So you're going to come to TinyWhoop.com, you're going to come into motors, you're going to sort by 802, and you're going to look for the 2 motors that have 1.5 millimeter motor shafts. This is one of them, the 802 27,000 kV iGao Season 4 Limited Edition. And also, well, they're sold out, the 802 25,000 kV 1.5 shaft snowblowers. So at the moment, this is the motor that you want. If you can wait for the lower kV, cool. But to be honest, just get these and then use motor limiting in beta flight to turn down. 27,000 kV is a ton. So I would go into the motor limiting, which is in the PIDs tab, and limit it down to like 80% first, and then ramp it up slowly. Front, I'm just gonna say, Frontline Fatal says, just got here. What drone is that? So that was at 12:03. I'm not sure which one I was trying to show you, but maybe chat answered. Sunset Park says, what do you cover your antennas with on the Mobula 6? Looks like shrink tube. Is that a good idea? Broken ELRS antenna a week ago and was wondering. So yeah, I call it prepping your antennas. You should never just take an antenna out of the package and put it directly onto a rig. They are not strong enough for that. I mean, TinyWhoops, they're usually fine, but other rigs, yeah, anything bigger than a TinyWhoop, don't run an antenna that you haven't prepped. The head of the antenna, this is me being lazy on the TinyWhoops. I haven't done it on this one, but all of these antennas, the head of the antenna is always two pieces, and when it hits on a solid object really hard, it'll break apart, and then that'll expose the innards of the antenna, and the innards of the antennas are very fragile. So yeah, all of your antennas, as soon as you get them out of the box, you want to put a piece of shrink wrap over the top of the antenna. Like, you'll see a seam. You'll see a little seam. Here, let me show you. On the True RC Singularities, the seam of the antenna is up on top here. Come on now. Come on, you dick. Focus. There it is. Nope, not quite. Well, grab any of your CP antennas, and there's going to be either a seam on the top or on the bottom, and that's where you want to get the shrink wrap to hold that seam, right? So that's going to keep the top of the antenna from separating. I also like to put a little bit of shrink wrap between the plastic head of the antenna and the cable itself. And then I also actually put a tiny little piece of shrink wrap right after the UFL. So just basically every single joint, you've got your UFL, and then that goes to the wire. So put a little piece there. And then you've got the wire that goes to the head of the antenna. Put another piece there, and then put another piece of shrink wrap on the actual head of the antenna. Don't go overboard because shrink wrap is kind of heavy. But yeah, those are the things that will make an antenna last a lot longer. I'm a cheap bastard. So yeah, I try to make them last as long as possible. Denzel the Terrible says, I just realized I've never seen Captain Jim Holden and CiottiFPV in the same room, huh? Could be the same person. Hypno says, I want to see you build that infinity tunnel. I don't know if I'll ever build the infinity tunnel, to be honest, but I can't wait to see yours, man. Sunset Park says, thank you on your bashed up Mobula 6 that you showed. It looks like it looked like the receiver had the shrink wrap. The bashed up Mobula 6 doesn't have a receiver. It's an all-in-one Happy Model Mobula 6 ELRS board. So it's got ELRS on the AIO as well as the VTX in there. Were you maybe talking about the BT 2.0 lead? If you were talking about the BT 2.0 lead, yeah, to save weight, I keep the battery cables as short as possible. And then I take the BT 2.0 connector is here, and then it's got like two little leads sticking off of it. And here's the BT 2.0 white plastic. Here's the two little leads sticking out that you got to solder to. What most people do is they run the wire straight up to the leads like this. So and then you take it and you 180 it, right? But what you can do instead to keep the battery wires short, because the battery wires are heavy, is you run the battery wires like this at like a really steep angle, and then you put a piece of shrink wrap over this whole thing because they're like live wires, right? And so that's what this is here. That's the way that you keep your battery leads as short as possible. And then it's also nice because like it takes care of that 180-degree turn that the battery lead normally has to do, right? So you just have this nice little jibby jabby that plugs directly into the battery, right? Battery goes in there and just boop, plugs it right in. That's how you get your TinyWhoops down below 19 grams too. Sunset Park says your ELRS antenna. My ELRS antenna on this rig is just a bare piece of wire. from old school FR Sky 2.4 gig antennas. Back in the day, the best of the receiver protocols was FR Sky 2.4 gigahertz, before ELRS, before Tracer, before Ghost. So I have tons of those old school FR Sky extra antennas, and so the exposed length, like the active element on an antenna that is 2.4 is 2.4. It doesn't matter if it's Tracer or Ghost or ELRS or old school FR Sky, 2.4 is 2.4. So when the ceramic antenna broke off of this AIO, and I have I've done this in a couple of live streams. You can search my channel and you'll find them. Just search for like ELRS antenna repair. You can cut off from your old antennas, or you can just go to Amazon and order some FR Sky antennas. You can cut the active part of that antenna off, and then just strip the tiniest little bit of it and solder that directly to where the ELRS tower antenna used to be. And it actually works better. The ceramic antennas do not work as good as a little bare piece of wire that I hand soldered, that I cut, that was tuned. So yeah, and that actually saves weight. This little piece of antenna wire is lighter than the ceramic antenna. So technically everybody should be doing it, because you get better performance and less weight. I'm sure that I'm forgetting people and things that happened, but I need to grab something to eat and go to sleep, because this has been a nutty 4 days. To everybody that I met there, thank you so much for the incredibly kind words. There was this like, yeah, it was crazy, man. Like, so many people were like, dude, like everybody's saying that you're ripping at Micro Mayhem, and then after they did the micro competition, like so many people were like, dude, chasing the RC cars, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. It was cool community, very cool community of people. I hope that I got to meet all of you at some point or another. If I didn't, I apologize. But I tried to meet as many people as I possibly could, and at these events, like I just try to kind of like work the room and just keep moving, and that way, like, hopefully everybody will run into me a couple times. And you know, like the first time you see somebody, a lot of times you're like, should I say hi? Maybe not. But like if you run in, if somebody walks by a second time, a lot of times you'll be like, it's not that you're working up the courage. It's just like it's a little bit less awkward, maybe. So yeah, I hope that I walked by all of you at least twice and you said hello, because yeah. Love you guys. Here comes some more. I'll send you out on some 3-inch flying. I hope. I haven't looked at any of this. It might be underexposed, it might be overexposed, it might be hyperexposed. Let's see. It might have deleted all the footage, I don't know. GoPro run cam, here we go. Oh my god, my ears. Let's just turn this down real quick. I'll try to give you something here. So yeah, this is the Nook. We put in some batteries here, yo. Awesome. I was very worried that this was going to be very underexposed. And it is a little, but it's not that bad. Give you something good. Here's True Style. What are all these? More True Style? Yeah. I'm gonna give you a little bit from the Nook. Alright guys, I'll catch you on Wednesday. Whoop Wednesday coming at you. Coming at you hot. Coming in hot. Is that a thing the kids still say? Maybe. Let me get a little music for you though. Make it a little more interesting. Hopefully. What do you got for me? Epidemic Sound. Anything? Mount Fuji? This could be cool. I don't want to play this in here. I want to play this in here. not this song. This is the song that's everywhere. It's one of the songs that's everywhere. Alright, guys. I'll see you on Wednesday. I love every single one of you. FPV for life. Later, friends. Here we go. I know how to do computer things, I swear.